The skies above us have been a source of wonder and mystery since time immemorial. And within that cosmic expanse, there have been sightings, incidents, phenomena that don't fit neatly into our understanding of the world. Incidents that suggest we might not be alone. UFO crashes. They're a staple of science fiction and the fodder of conspiracy theories. But what happens when these crashes are reported in real life? Are they hoaxes, misinterpretations, or could they be genuine encounters with extraterrestrial technology? Today we'll take a journey through some of the most notable purported UFO crash incidents and the intriguing theories surrounding them. Our journey begins in the summer of 1947, in the quiet town of Roswell, New Mexico. The nearby desert landscape was disrupted when an unidentified flying object crashed into the barren soil. What unfolded after is a narrative of intrigue that continues to fuel discussions to this day. Rancher W.W. Mac Brazel discovered the wreckage, which was unlike anything he had ever seen. It was made of a thin, lightweight material that Brazel described as a sort of metal foil. He could crumple it and it would unfold itself, retaining its original shape. The local military base, Roswell Army Airfield, initially reported the recovery of a flying disc, only to retract the statement a day later, claiming it was a simple weather balloon that had crashed. But this quick change in narrative sparked curiosity and suspicion. Could it have been a cover-up? Several witnesses later came forward decades after the incident. They claimed they saw not only the wreckage of a disc-shaped craft, but also the bodies of its otherworldly occupants. Jesse Marcel, the intelligence officer who first investigated and recovered some of the wreckage, later openly disputed the weather balloon explanation. He claimed the materials he found were not of this world. The Roswell incident is perhaps the most famous and thoroughly investigated UFO crash in history. It has become the cornerstone of UFO conspiracy theories and has inspired countless books, movies, and TV shows. But despite all the interest and investigation, the question remains: what really happened in Roswell in the summer of 1947? The truth, as they say, may still be out there. Next, let's travel to Kecksburg, Pennsylvania. On the evening of December 9, 1965, a fireball was reported by thousands in at least 6 U.S. states and Ontario, Canada. It streaked over the Detroit, Michigan, Windsor, Canada area, reportedly dropped hot metal debris over Michigan and northern Ohio, and caused sonic booms in western Pennsylvania. It was generally assumed and reported by the press to be a meteor. However, inhabitants of Kecksburg had a different story to tell. Eyewitnesses in the small village described something crashing in the woods, a large, brilliant fireball in the sky. But this was no ordinary meteor. Residents reported a strange acorn-shaped object about the size of a small car. The strange object was adorned with mysterious hieroglyphic-like characters etched into its metallic surface. The military was on the scene quickly, cordoning off the area and removing the object on a flatbed truck under the cover of darkness. Officially, they later reported they found absolutely nothing in the woods. But this quick response and the subsequent secrecy only fueled the rumors of a government cover-up. In the following years, numerous theories have surfaced about the Kecksburg incident. Some suggest it was a crashed Soviet satellite, others claim it was an extraterrestrial spacecraft, and some even believe it was an experimental Nazi de-Glocker device from WW2, somehow displaced in time. While no definitive conclusion has been reached, the Kecksburg incident continues to intrigue ufologists and conspiracy theorists alike. The truth behind this event remains as elusive as the object itself, a mystery concealed within the shadows of the unknown. The Shag Harbor incident, which took place on October 4, 1967 in Nova Scotia, Canada, is another notable UFO crash that has puzzled investigators for decades. This particular incident stands out due to its multiple credible witnesses and an official government acknowledgement that something unexplained indeed happened. On that fateful night, residents reported seeing a sequence of flashing lights in the sky, which were moving in a downward trajectory. These lights eventually hit the water's surface and appeared to float, prompting some witnesses to believe they were seeing a tragic airplane crash. Local authorities were quickly alerted, and a rescue mission was launched under the assumption that an aircraft had crashed into the sea. But when boats arrived at the scene, there was no wreckage, no bodies, and no survivors. Instead, they found a long, yellow foam on the water. a sign that something unusual had occurred. The Canadian military became involved, and an underwater search was initiated. Still, no aircraft wreckage was found, and the case was handed off to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and the Canadian Coast Guard. They classified it as a UFO report, the only unsolved case in Canada officially classified as a UFO. Over the years, the Shag Harbor incident has provoked numerous theories. Some believe it was a secret military operation, while others propose it was an extraterrestrial craft. Some witnesses even reported seeing a second craft in the sky, seemingly looking for the first one. Despite extensive investigations, including by civilian UFO groups, the true nature of the Shag Harbor incident remains a mystery. It's an enigma that continues to fuel speculation and interest, keeping the incident very much alive in the annals of UFO history. If we're exploring UFO crash incidents, we mustn't overlook the Berwin Mountain incident in Wales in 1974. This event involves an alleged crash of an unidentified flying object in the Berwin Mountains. The mystery deepens with the claim of a subsequent military cover-up, which has fueled a lot of speculation over the years. On the night of January 23, 1974, residents in the nearby village of Llandrillo reported a loud explosion and earth tremors. The local community was understandably alarmed, believing they had experienced an earthquake. Many also reported seeing strange lights in the sky moving towards the mountain range. The initial official explanation was that the tremors were caused by an earthquake measuring 3.5 on the Richter scale. However, locals were convinced that the tremors were caused by something crashing into the mountains. This belief was fueled by reports of a significant military presence in the area in the days following the event, leading many to believe that something was being covered up. Over the years, the theories around the Berwin Mountain incident have ranged from crashed UFOs to secretive military operations. Some believe that an extraterrestrial craft crashed and that the military quickly moved in to retrieve the wreckage and any possible occupants. Others propose that the event was a result of a secretive military experiment gone wrong. Despite numerous requests for information, the UK government has released very little documentation about the incident. This lack of information has only added to the intrigue surrounding the event. Even today, the Berwin Mountain incident is a focal point for UFO enthusiasts and conspiracy theorists alike, making it one of the most enduring UFO mysteries in the UK. Let's move our focus to the other side of the globe, to a place called Dalnagorsk in the Soviet Union. In the chilly winter evening of January 29, 1986, locals reported a strange reddish sphere flying towards a hill known as Height 611. The object supposedly crashed into the hill, sparking a fire that lasted for hours. The Height 611 incident is unique because of the immediate and extensive research conducted by Soviet scientists in the aftermath. A team led by Dr. Valery Dvuzhilny from the Far Eastern Academy of Sciences gathered samples from the crash site just 2 days later. What they found was peculiar. The site was littered with tiny rock-like particles, metallic in nature, and also unusual black glassy beads. Analysis of these beads revealed them to be almost entirely composed of lead and iron silicate, but it was the way these elements were combined that was unusual. They were structured in a way not typical for naturally occurring minerals or human-made materials. This led the researchers to believe that the object was likely not of earthly origin. Additionally, the trees around the crash site were also affected. They appeared to have been exposed to high heat levels, causing burn damage, but strangely, there was no evidence of a conventional explosion. This further added to the mystery. Despite thorough investigations, what crashed into Height 611 remains a mystery. The unusual nature of the debris and the lack of conventional explanations have led many to believe that this was indeed a UFO crash. Yet, like most UFO incidents, official explanations are scarce and typically dismissive of the extraterrestrial hypothesis. Nevertheless, for many, the Height 611 incident remains a strong piece of evidence in support of the existence of UFOs. How about we step into the time machine and head to the late 19th century, specifically April 17, 1897, in the small town of Aurora, Texas. The event in question predates the Roswell incident by a good half-century, and it's one of the earliest reported UFO crashes. According to local newspaper reports from the time, an airship was seen by several witnesses as it swerved over the town square, then crashed into a windmill on the property of a Judge J.S. Proctor. The explosion that followed destroyed the windmill and the water tank and scattered debris across several acres of ground. But here's where it gets truly bizarre. The townsfolk allegedly discovered a badly disfigured body, which they assumed was the ship's pilot. The body, described as not an inhabitant of this world, was buried with Christian rites in the local cemetery. Reports claim that the wreckage from the crash site had strange hieroglyphic-like symbols. In the 1970s, the case was re-investigated by UFO researchers. They claimed to locate the grave and even applied to exhume the site, but the request was denied. Metal fragments were found in the area which were claimed to be remnants of the UFO, but the results of the analysis were inconclusive. The Aurora case is often dismissed as a hoax, primarily because the town was suffering from a severe economic downturn, and some suggest that the story was concocted to revive interest in the area. But without definitive proof, it remains an intriguing piece of UFO history that continues to fuel speculation about early extraterrestrial visits to Earth. We've journeyed through a landscape of mystery and speculation, diving into numerous accounts of supposed UFO crashes. From Roswell to the Berwin Mountains, these incidents have spurred countless theories, debates, and investigations. While it's easy to dismiss these stories as mere fabrications or misunderstandings, they do serve a crucial role in fueling our curiosity about what lies beyond our planet. They remind us that the universe is vast, and there's so much we don't yet understand. Could we be visited by beings from another world? Have we already been? The answers are still out there, waiting in the vast expanse of the cosmos. Until next time, remember to keep looking up and questioning everything. And as always, remember, curiosity makes you smarter, and as always, thanks for watching. What if instead I was an extraterrestrial being from a far-off galaxy? A concept that's not too far off for some conspiracy theorists who believe that our governments have been keeping secrets about alien landings. But how about something even more mind-boggling? Alien connections to the Great Pyramids. Well, let's dive in and explore these intriguing ideas. In our quest to comprehend the unknown, we often turn to our governments. After all, they must know something, right? From the late 1940s through the late 1960s, the US government's Project Blue Book compiled reports of over 12,000 sightings or encounters with unidentified flying objects. Although the project concluded in 1969, stating that most of the sightings involved conventional aircraft or natural phenomena, and that none posed a threat to national security, it didn't quell the public's fascination or skepticism, but there's more. In recent years, the US government has released a series of videos that show fast-moving objects captured by military aircraft. These videos, which the Department of Defense has explicitly referred to as containing unidentified aerial phenomena, have reignited public interest and speculation about the existence of extraterrestrial life and their potential visitations to our planet. Moreover, the CIA has declassified a large number of documents and files about UFOs, making them available online. This trove of information includes reports dating from the 1940s to the early 1990s. Though many of these reports are heavily redacted and offer no concrete evidence of extraterrestrial life, they do prove one thing. The government has spent considerable time and resources investigating these phenomena. So, yes, governments have leaked, declassified, or even directly released information concerning UFOs, or, as they now prefer to call them, unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP. Still, the question remains, are these genuine encounters with alien technology, or are they merely earthly phenomena we have yet to understand fully? As we venture deeper, keep this question in mind. And the Roswell incident, that's where things get particularly controversial, and conspiracy theories abound. In 1947, something fell from the sky near Roswell, New Mexico. The US military claimed it was a weather balloon, but many didn't buy this explanation. Even today, over 7 decades later, the incident sparks debates and conspiracy theories. At the time, a local rancher discovered unusual debris in his sheep pasture. Lightweight, but incredibly strong, pieces of what appeared to be metal and plastic. After the military swiftly collected and removed the material, rumors began circulating that it was not a weather balloon that had crashed, but an extraterrestrial spacecraft. The Roswell incident has since become a linchpin of UFO conspiracy theories, with allegations of a government cover-up. Documents have been declassified over time, but many questions remain, keeping Roswell firmly in the realm of the mysterious and the unexplained. And here's where things get even more peculiar. Some claim that not only was there a crashed spacecraft, but also recovered alien bodies. Reports suggest that autopsies were performed on these beings, offering insight into extraterrestrial physiology. However, these accounts have been largely dismissed by mainstream science and are often considered the stuff of science fiction. But then again, in a universe so vast, who's to say what's possible? After all, as I always like to ponder, we're just a tiny speck in the grand cosmic scale. The Roswell incident remains one of the most enduring and fascinating stories in the world of ufology. And while the truth of what really happened is still shrouded in secrecy and skepticism, the allure of the unknown continues to captivate us, fueling our curiosity and our imagination. Who knows what secrets the universe holds, or what might come crashing down from the sky next? And now let's take a massive leap, not just in location but also in time, from the deserts of New Mexico in the mid-20th century to the deserts of Egypt thousands of years ago. It's time to talk about the Great Pyramids of Giza and how they might be connected to aliens. These majestic structures, the last of the seven wonders of the ancient world, are truly awe-inspiring. The biggest of them all, the Great Pyramid of Khufu, consists of 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing an average of 2.5 tons. What's even more staggering is that these pyramids were built with such precision that our current technology would struggle to match. The Great Pyramid, for example, is aligned to true north with an accuracy of 3/60th yards of a degree. How could the ancient Egyptians accomplish such a feat without the aid of modern technology or even the compass? This is where the alien theorists step in. Some propose that such advanced architectural and engineering skills could have come from extraterrestrial beings. They argue that aliens might have either directly built the pyramids or passed on the knowledge to the ancient Egyptians. Some even go as far as to suggest that the pyramids were used as a sort of energy generator or even a beacon for alien spacecraft. Many scientists and historians dismiss these theories, citing ample evidence of the techniques and tools used by the Egyptians, along with a gradual evolution of pyramid building skills over generations. But the alien theorists persist, asking questions like, why does the layout of the pyramids match the Orion's belt constellation? And why are there similar pyramid structures in cultures around the world with no known contact with each other? While it's easy to dismiss these theories as fantastical, they do make us ponder the extraordinary capabilities of our ancestors and the mysteries that ancient structures like the pyramids continue to hold. Whether or not you believe in the alien connection, there's no denying that these questions add another layer of intrigue to the already captivating story of the pyramids. As we delve deeper, we continue to uncover more about our past and potentially about our place in the universe. Now, let's delve deeper into one of the most intriguing aspects of the Great Pyramids of Giza, their alignment. As I mentioned earlier, these pyramids are aligned with an uncanny level of precision. But did you know that they also mimic a specific pattern seen in the night sky? The three pyramids on the Giza Plateau, the Great Pyramid of Khufu, the Pyramid of Khafre, and the Pyramid of Menkaure, are laid out in a pattern that matches the three stars in the belt of the constellation Orion. This is what is known as the Orion correlation theory, first put forward by Belgian author Robert Bouvel in the 1980s. Here's where it gets even more interesting. The theory suggests that not only do the pyramids mimic the Orion's belt, but they also do so as the constellation would have appeared in the sky in the year 10,500 BCE. This is a significant divergence from the accepted chronology, which places the construction of the pyramids at around 2,500 BCE. But why Orion? Well, in ancient Egyptian mythology, the god associated with the afterlife, Osiris, was represented in the sky by the constellation Orion. So it's theorized that the pyramids, specifically the Great Pyramid, were built to serve as a stargate for the pharaoh's soul to ascend to the afterlife and join with Osiris in the constellation Orion. Some proponents of the alien theory seize on this point, suggesting that the alignment and precision involved in this construction could only have been achieved with advanced, likely extraterrestrial knowledge and technology. They also point out that other ancient structures around the world, like the Teotihuacan in Mexico also seem to align with celestial bodies, further fueling the notion of a worldwide ancient connection with extraterrestrial beings. As always, these theories are met with skepticism from mainstream scholars. They argue that the Egyptians had a deep understanding of astronomy and that the correlation with Orion could be coincidental or symbolic, rather than evidence of alien intervention. Still, the pyramid alignment theory, much like the pyramids themselves, stands as a fascinating testament to the enduring allure of these ancient marvels. Whether the product of human ingenuity or extraterrestrial influence, the precision and grandeur of the pyramids continue to captivate us, prompting us to question, to probe, and to wonder about the incredible story of human civilization. As we explore the various theories surrounding the pyramids and their potential extraterrestrial connections, it's essential to examine how governments, particularly the Egyptian government, have responded to these claims. The Egyptian government has long maintained that the pyramids were constructed by ancient Egyptians using conventional methods, with no influence or assistance from extraterrestrial beings. They argue that while the construction techniques employed may seem advanced or mysterious, they are in line with the level of knowledge and skill possessed by ancient Egyptians. In response to theories about extraterrestrial involvement, officials have consistently cited the work of renowned Egyptologists and archaeologists who have spent years studying the pyramids and their construction. These experts have offered explanations for the alignment, measurements, and precise engineering of the pyramids, suggesting that human ingenuity and innovation were solely responsible. Some governments have also taken steps to counter conspiracy theories about alien connections to the pyramids. For instance, they have cooperated with international research teams and supported scientific studies that examine the construction methods and materials used in building the pyramids. By facilitating such research, they aim to provide evidence that supports the mainstream view that the pyramids are the product of human craftsmanship rather than extraterrestrial intervention. In recent years, the Egyptian government has also made efforts to promote transparency and inclusivity in the study of their ancient heritage. They have invited experts from around the world to participate in ongoing archaeological projects and have welcomed new technologies and methods that can help shed light on the pyramid's construction. Despite these efforts, the allure of the alien theory persists, and a variety of alternative explanations continue to circulate. While the government's response has been to promote scientific research and uphold the achievements of their ancient civilization, the enduring fascination with the possibility of extraterrestrial involvement in the construction of the pyramids is a testament to the deep sense of wonder and curiosity that these ancient marvels continue to inspire. Theories of government cover-ups and alien landings, the mysterious origins of the pyramids. These stories provide a fascinating look into our collective fascination with the unknown. They challenge our understanding of history and our place in the universe. And while these theories may lack definitive proof, they certainly provide food for thought. So the next time you look up at the stars or marvel at the pyramids, ask yourself, what if there's more to the story? And as always, thanks for watching. Hello there, picture this. A bustling airport with planes taking off and landing, travelers rushing to catch flights, and in its depths, a secret society of reptiles. Yes, you heard that right. We're going to dive into one of the most interesting and bizarre conspiracy theories out there, the Denver airport reptiles. But first, let's address the elephant in the room. Why on earth would an airport have barbed wire fences facing inwards? It's quite a puzzling sight, and one that has stirred quite a bit of controversy. Normally, fences are designed to keep people out, right? But what happens when they are designed to keep people in? Now, this is where things get a little strange. At the Denver airport, one thing that has consistently puzzled visitors and fueled conspiracy theories is the orientation of the barbed wire on the fences. Instead of being designed to deter people from breaking in, as you would expect, the barbed wire is angled inward, as if to prevent people from getting out. Conspiracy theorists have jumped on this anomaly, with some claiming it's evidence of a secret underground prison or concentration camp operated by the government or perhaps our supposed reptilian overlords. They argue that the inward-facing fences are a clear indication of the airport's sinister purpose, to detain, not to deter. But those in charge of the airport offer a more mundane explanation. They argue that the inward-facing fences are simply a measure to prevent large animals, such as deer, from wandering onto the runways, which could potentially lead to dangerous accidents. Yet, for those who believe in the Denver airport conspiracies, this explanation is seen as a convenient cover-up. The question remains, are these fences an innocent measure of wildlife control or a more insidious tool of containment? As always, the answer depends on who you ask. Denver International Airport, or DIA, is more than just a hub for travelers from around the globe. This intriguing location has earned quite a reputation. It's often referred to as the conspiracy capital of the world, and for good reason. You see, the airport was built in 1995, replacing Denver's Stapleton Airport, which, by all accounts, was still functioning perfectly well. This raised eyebrows, particularly because the new DIA was significantly larger and seemingly unnecessary, but things get even stranger. The initial budget for DIA was around $1.7 billion, but the final cost skyrocketed to nearly $4.8 billion, a whopping $3.1 billion over the original budget. This massive overrun sparked a flurry of questions. Why was the budget exceeded by such a massive amount? And where did all that money go? Adding to the intrigue, the airport's dedication stone credits an organization called the New World Airport Commission for its help in building the airport. However, there's no record of such an organization existing. This gave rise to speculation that New World could be a reference to the New World Order, a secret society that, according to conspiracy theorists, aims to establish an authoritarian world government. The construction of the airport also required massive amounts of earth moving, which created a system of tunnels and multi-level underground structures. According to the airport's official explanation, these were intended for a high-speed automated baggage handling system that never actually worked. However, some conspiracy theorists have proposed that these subterranean levels serve a far more sinister purpose, and this is where our reptilian friends enter the scene. Now let's take a detour into the world of the bizarre and the unexplained, the reptilian theory. The idea, popularized by conspiracy theorist David Icke, posits that shape-shifting reptilian aliens control Earth by taking on human form and gaining political power to manipulate our societies. Sounds like something right out of a sci-fi movie, right? But here's the connection to Denver Airport. Some theorists believe that the underground tunnels and multi-level structures beneath the airport serve as a secret base for these reptilian overlords. The airport's capacious underground area, the size of Manhattan, they claim, provides ample room for a hidden city, or rather a hidden reptilian lair. And while we're down here in the basement of conjecture, let's add another layer to this conspiracy cake. Some proponents of the reptilian theory also suggest that the alleged subterranean city is not just a lair, but a massive covert genetics lab. Here, they say, human and reptilian DNA are combined to produce hybrid beings that walk among us, undetected. Naturally, these theories are met with a healthy dose of skepticism by most, but that doesn't stop the speculation. And it's not just the underground structure that has caught the attention of conspiracy theorists. There are many more elements of DIA that raise eyebrows and fuel the belief in the extraordinary. And now we enter the basement, or should we say the supposed labyrinthine network of underground tunnels that exist beneath the Denver airport. If you believe the theories, these are not just your regular baggage handling and maintenance tunnels, but rather, they are home to our elusive reptilian overlords. The belief in reptilian beings controlling Earth is not new. It's a common thread in many conspiracy theories, with some alleging that these creatures are a superior alien species, or perhaps even a subterranean race that has lived on Earth far longer than us humans. In the case of Denver Airport, theorists suggest that the airport was built as a cover for the construction of a massive underground base. This base is, according to them, where the reptilian beings live, work, and perhaps orchestrate their global control strategies. They point to the unusually large amount of soil, 110 million cubic yards to be precise, that was moved during the airport's construction. Could this have been to accommodate the creation of this subterranean city? Again, officials offer a more rational explanation. The soil was moved to build the airport's runway system. But for those ingrained in conspiracy lore, this is seen as another cover-up, a smokescreen to hide the true purpose of the airport. So is there a vast subterranean network harboring a race of reptilian beings under Denver Airport? As with all things, the truth might be stranger than fiction, or perhaps it might be exactly as mundane as officials insist. Either way, it's a fascinating journey into the world of conspiracy theories and our own human imagination. Art, as they say, is a reflection of society, a mirror held up to the world. But what if the mirror shows us something unexpected, something cryptic? Denver Airport is home to some intriguing and, to some, unsettling artwork. The most notable of these is a series of murals painted by artist Leo Tanguma. They depict scenes of environmental decay, war and genocide, but also scenes of restoration and peace. While Tanguma has explained that the murals are a commentary on humanity's capacity for destruction and hope for a better future, conspiracy theorists have their own interpretations. To them, these murals are not simple artistic expressions, but coded messages or even prophecies about a dystopian future orchestrated by the global elite, or, in this case, our reptilian overlords. Some theories suggest the murals depict a new world order taking over the Earth after some cataclysmic event. Another notable piece of art is a 32-foot-tall blue horse statue with glowing red eyes, affectionately known as Blucifer. The statue's eerie appearance has led to speculation about its intended symbolism, with theories ranging from it being a representation of the fourth horseman of the apocalypse to it being a symbol of the reptilians' power and influence. Interestingly, the artist of the statue, Luis Jimenez, was killed when a section of the sculpture fell on him during construction. This unfortunate event has only served to fuel the conspiracies surrounding the airport's artworks. But is there a hidden meaning in these artworks, a message to be decoded? Or is it just art, meant to provoke thought and discussion? The answer, like many things at Denver Airport, remains shrouded in mystery. Finally, let's gaze into the future. Denver International Airport, despite, or perhaps because of all the conspiracy theories, has become a cultural icon, and the airport authorities aren't shying away from it. In fact, they're embracing the theories, turning them into a marketing tool, and using them to fuel intrigue and tourism. In 2016, the airport even held a month-long exhibit on the conspiracy theories, complete with a talking gargoyle that joked with travelers about the airport's supposed secrets. The airport's official website has a section dedicated to debunking the rumors, but it does so with a wink, maintaining the sense of mystery. They've also used the theories in construction signs when the airport was undergoing renovations, signs reading construction or cover up. And what's happening behind this wall, gargoyle breeding ground, top secret Freemason meeting, appeared around the airport. Far from quashing the rumors, these actions have only added fuel to the fire. So what does the future hold for the Denver Airport conspiracy theories? As long as there's an airport with unusual art, mysterious symbols, and a complex network of underground tunnels, it seems there will always be someone wondering what really lies beneath. And isn't that the beauty of human curiosity? The quest for answers, the yearning for truth, the lure of the unknown, it's all part of the journey. In the end, the Denver Airport and its associated conspiracy theories serve as a reminder that our world is full of mystery and intrigue, whether real or imagined, and that's a world well worth exploring. After all, where would we be without a little mystery in our lives? There you have it, folks. From the construction of the largest airport in the United States by total land area, to the intricate murals and statues, all the way to the inward-facing barbed wire and the supposed reptilian base, Denver International Airport has carved a unique space for itself in the annals of conspiracy theory lore. In an era where everything is a Google search away, it's refreshing and a little exciting to have some mysteries left in the world. And while we've explored some of the most popular theories about Denver Airport, remember, the truth is often elusive and in some cases far stranger than fiction. Of course, all of these theories are just that, theories. As humans, we love a good story, and the Denver Airport gives us plenty to speculate on. But next time you're rushing to catch a flight, spare a thought for the possible reptilian inhabitants beneath your feet. Or better yet, take a moment to appreciate the unique artwork that sparks these fascinating conversations. And as always, have you ever heard about Bob Lazar? Yes, the same man who sparked the worldwide curiosity and conspiracy theories surrounding Area 51, extraterrestrial technology, and the mystery Element 115. He claims to have worked on reverse engineering alien technology in a secretive base called S4 near Area 51. But how did a supposed physicist from the Midwest end up at the heart of one of the most enduring UFO narratives of our time? And why does his story continue to fascinate us today, decades after he first brought his claims to the public? Let's delve into this cosmic conundrum together. Bob Lazar, a name that sends ripples through the world of UFO enthusiasts and skeptics alike. Born in 1959 in Coral Gables, Florida, Lazar moved to New York during his childhood. He's held a lifelong fascination with science and technology, particularly with jet engines and explosives, and his exploits even led to some minor run-ins with the law. But what truly thrust Lazar into the spotlight wasn't his penchant for pyrotechnics. It was his extraordinary claims in 1989, when he came forward in a televised interview, introducing himself to the world as a physicist and declaring that he had worked in a clandestine facility near the infamous Area 51. This location, he said, was called S4, tucked into the Emigrant Valley and sheltered by the Papoose mountain range. According to Lazar, S4 was the hub of a top-secret operation that focused on reverse engineering alien technology. He claimed to have been part of this covert program, working directly on 9 extraterrestrial craft, each one with different exteriors but identical interiors. His role, he stated, was to help understand and reproduce the incredible technology that powered these vessels. This claim, as outrageous as it was, caught the public's attention. UFO enthusiasts and conspiracy theorists pounced on Lazar's story as proof of the US government's knowledge and involvement with extraterrestrial beings and their technology. But his story also drew skepticism from many others, leading to an ongoing debate about the truth of Lazar's claims, his background, and the very existence of S4. It's this controversy that continues to fog Lazar's story. S4, a location etched into the minds of UFO enthusiasts and skeptics alike thanks to Lazar. But what was the nature of the work supposedly conducted at this elusive location? Let's delve into what Lazar described as his experiences there. At S4, according to Lazar, the mission was clear yet unimaginably complex: to reverse engineer advanced extraterrestrial technology. He described the alien craft as sports model flying saucers, powered by a device he referred to as the Element 115 reactor. This mysterious element, which he claimed was not of our planet, allegedly generated a gravity wave that propelled the spacecraft. His role, as part of the back engineering team, was to try to understand how these flying saucers worked and to explore the possibility of duplicating their technology using earthly materials and scientific understanding. It was an intricate task that demanded a fusion of physics, engineering, and a lot of conjecture. But Lazar also spoke about the intense secrecy and compartmentalization that characterized the operation. Each project team at S4 was kept in the dark about the other team's work, minimizing the risk of information leakage. Even within the teams, knowledge was strictly on a need-to-know basis. Furthermore, Lazar claimed that the US government had fabricated academic and professional records to discredit him if he ever broke his oath of secrecy. Indeed, when his claims reached the public, Lazar found his background under intense scrutiny, with critics pointing to discrepancies and lack of verifiable records. But in spite of all the skepticism and controversy, the details of Lazar's account continue to captivate many who are willing to ponder the possibility of a secretive government program focused on alien technology. It's a tale that adds another layer to the intriguing tapestry of UFO lore. Bob Lazar's academic and professional credentials have been the subject of intense debate. His claim of having degrees from the California Institute of Technology, Caltech, and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, two of the most prestigious institutions in the world, was met with incredulity and skepticism. When investigators attempted to verify Lazar's educational background, they hit a wall. There were no records of Lazar having attended, let alone graduated from either of these universities. Critics argue this effectively discredits his claim of being a physicist, thus calling into question his alleged role at S4. However, Lazar claimed that his records were deliberately erased to discredit him and suppress the explosive information he disclosed. It's a claim that's difficult to prove, but fuels the intrigue surrounding his story. Lazar's supporters point to his undeniable scientific and technical knowledge, arguing that he couldn't have gained such understanding without substantial education. Additionally, Lazar also claimed to have previously worked at Los Alamos National Laboratory, a top-level research institution in New Mexico. Initial checks turned up no employment records, but an old phone directory did list a Robert Lazar employed by a subcontractor. Furthermore, a news article from before the controversy featured a picture of Lazar standing next to a jet car he claimed to have built, and the article referred to him as a physicist with the Los Alamos Meson Physics Facility. This tug-of-war between Lazar's claims and the verifiable evidence forms a significant part of the Lazar narrative. It's a maze of mystery, sprinkled with apparent contradictions and unanswered questions, stirring the minds of UFO enthusiasts and skeptics alike. One of the most extraordinary claims Bob Lazar made revolves around an element he referred to as Element 115, which he said was used as the fuel for the alleged extraterrestrial spacecraft at S4. Lazar's description of this element's properties seemed fantastical at the time. He claimed it was capable of generating a gravitational field when excited and could be used for gravity propulsion. This was said to enable the craft to distort gravity around it, allowing for what would appear to us as incredible acceleration and maneuverability, not to mention facilitating travel across vast cosmic distances. He suggested that these distortions in gravity were the reason why observers often reported UFOs as making rapid direction changes and accelerating at unbelievable speeds. In the early 1990s, when Lazar first made these claims, there was no official recognition of element 115 in the periodic table. However, in 2003, scientists were able to synthetically create a super-heavy element with an atomic number of 115. Named Moscovium, it was not as stable as Lazar had claimed element 115 was, and it certainly did not exhibit the gravity-defying properties he described. Nonetheless, this development sparked renewed interest in his story. Additionally, Lazar detailed the design and functionality of the alleged alien spacecraft. He claimed they were powered by a gravity reactor, which utilized element 115 to generate a gravity A wave. The spacecraft allegedly had 3 gravity amplifiers, which could focus the gravity A wave to allow the craft to essentially fall in any direction, explaining their seemingly impossible maneuvers. The technical and detailed nature of Lazar's claims, whether fact or fiction, have undeniably captured the imagination of many and have significantly influenced the discourse around UFO technology and potential alien propulsion methods. Today, Bob Lazar's story continues to divide opinions and provoke debate, with many still questioning the truth of his assertions and the validity of his credentials. The lack of substantial, verifiable evidence has kept many skeptics unconvinced. Yet there are others who believe his account, drawn to the consistency in his narrative and the specific technological details he provided. Lazar has largely withdrawn from the public eye, but made a significant return to the spotlight with the 2018 documentary Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers, directed by Jeremy Corbell. In the film, Lazar stands by his claims, expressing frustration and discomfort about his unique knowledge and the ensuing disbelief he has faced. The documentary has brought his story to a new generation, sparking renewed interest and debate. Some points that have kept his narrative alive include the official acknowledgement of Area 51 by the US government in 2013, more than 2 decades after Lazar first brought it to public attention. Moreover, the US Navy's confirmation of several videos showing unidentified aerial phenomena performing maneuvers that appear to defy our understanding of physics has led some to speculate about the kind of technology Lazar described. In recent years, a renewed push for transparency on UFOs from certain sectors of the US government and military, culminating in the 2020 release of previously classified UFO footage, has added fuel to the discussion surrounding Lazar's claims. While none of this conclusively proves Lazar's story, for some, it suggests that the world might be closer to accepting the existence of technology and knowledge that is currently beyond our comprehension. And so, as we stare up at the night sky, pondering our place in the cosmos, the story of Bob Lazar continues to challenge our understanding of the universe and our place within it. Despite the skeptics, despite the controversy, his tale echoes with our innate desire to explore the unknown and to comprehend the incomprehensible. So next time when you look at the stars twinkling above, ask yourself, could it be that we've already touched the cosmos in ways we can't fully understand or accept? Just a thought. And as always, thanks for watching. Picture a place untouched by the hands of time, where the echoes of the ancient past are the living present. A place hidden away from modern civilization, where people live exactly as our ancestors did thousands of years ago. This isn't the setting of a science fiction novel or a far-off alien world. It's right here, on Earth, in a tiny speck of land in the Indian Ocean, North Sentinel Island. A land shrouded in mystery, protected by its isolation, and inhabited by perhaps the most isolated tribe on Earth, the Sentinelese. Let's delve into this intriguing enclave of human history. Imagine an island so remote, so isolated, that we know almost nothing about it. This isn't the premise of a new season of Lost, but rather it's our reality. That's the story of North Sentinel Island, located in the Bay of Bengal, part of the archipelago of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. North Sentinel Island is unlike any other place on Earth. Its inhabitants, the Sentinelese, are considered to be the last pre-Neolithic tribe in the world. That's right, while you and I are here using our latest devices to communicate across continents, there's a group of people who live much like our ancestors did thousands of years ago. They rely on hunting, gathering, and fishing for their sustenance. Interestingly, the island isn't that far from modern civilization. It's just over 50 kilometers from Port Blair, the capital of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Yet, despite this relative proximity, the Sentinelese have remained astonishingly isolated, their language, customs, and way of life remaining a mystery to us. Why, you ask? Well, the Sentinelese have made it abundantly clear that they want nothing to do with the outside world. They are known to respond with hostility to any attempt at contact, throwing spears and arrows at low-flying aircraft and boats that venture too close to the island. In the age of Google Maps and instant communication, it's somewhat startling to acknowledge that there are still places on our planet that remain uncharted and largely unknown, reminding us of the vastness and variety of human experience. Diving deeper, let's take a closer look at the residents of this remote island, the Sentinelese. They represent a living testament of human survival, resilience, and isolation. The Sentinelese are thought to have lived on North Sentinel Island for up to 60,000 years, undisturbed and disconnected from the evolution of civilization as we know it. That's right, they've been around for longer than we've had written language, farming, or even the wheel. The Sentinelese live in small temporary huts made from locally available materials, palms, grass, and bamboo. For food, they depend on hunting, fishing, and gathering plant-based food. They use simple tools like bows and arrows to capture their prey. There's something incredibly humbling about the Sentinelese. Living in an age where we're surrounded by technology and comforts, the Sentinelese offer a stark contrast. They've survived for tens of thousands of years with what the land provides. Their tools haven't changed for millennia, and their way of life remains rooted in age-old traditions. Their language is a mystery too for now. Even neighboring tribes from other islands in the Andaman and Nicobar archipelago can't understand it. Their dialect has evolved in isolation for so many thousands of years that it has become completely unique. You might be tempted to think of the Sentinelese as primitive or backward because they lack the technology we're accustomed to. But let's flip the narrative here. Perhaps in their sustainable way of life, in their balance with their environment, and in their resistance to outside influence, they could be seen as incredibly advanced, practicing a form of wisdom that the rest of us are only beginning to appreciate. We've established the remoteness and the distinct culture of the Sentinelese, but why is this island, smaller than the city of San Francisco, spoken about with such apprehension and caution? Why is North Sentinel Island considered one of the most dangerous places on Earth? There's a simple yet profound reason for this. The Sentinelese are hostile towards outsiders, and for centuries, they've defended their island fiercely. Now, this isn't out of any inherent aggression or malice, but a natural response to protect their domain and their way of life from the unknown, that unknown being us. Take, for instance, their encounter with the British in the late 19th century. An expedition led by Maurice Vidal Portman, a British naval officer, kidnapped several Sentinelese with the aim to civilize them. The kidnapped members soon fell ill, and most of them died due to exposure to foreign diseases against which they had no immunity. Those who survived were quickly returned to the island. Similar incidents have occurred throughout history, with explorers, anthropologists, and even lost fishermen receiving a hostile reception. In 2006, 2 fishermen who strayed too close to the island were killed. These encounters, while tragic, offer valuable insight into the island's fearsome reputation. It's less about the hostility of the Sentinelese and more about their rightful defense against potential threats. After all, from their perspective, these outsiders have brought nothing but harm and disease. Perhaps the danger of North Sentinel Island is less about the people who live there, and more about our own inability to respect their desire for isolation and self-preservation. But let's not forget, we're dealing with a society that has had virtually no contact with the outside world. The rules are different, and so are the stakes. So, we've seen how the Sentinelese have maintained their distance from the rest of the world. But what about the world's responsibility to them? With the notoriety that comes with the island's unique isolation, how is North Sentinel Island, and more importantly, its people, being protected? The Indian government, under whose jurisdiction the island falls, has made several attempts to establish peaceful contact with the Sentinelese. In the 1980s and 1990s, there were contact expeditions where gifts like coconuts, bananas, and iron implements were left on the shores. These attempts were met with mixed reactions, ranging from curiosity to outright hostility. But over time, the Indian government has taken a hands-off approach. They've established a 3-mile exclusion zone around the island, making it illegal to approach without express permission. They've realized that each contact, no matter how well-intentioned, risks introducing diseases that could potentially wipe out the Sentinelese, who have no immunity to common ailments like the flu or measles. This protective stance was highlighted in 2018 when an American missionary named John Allen Chow was killed by the Sentinelese after illegally visiting the island in an attempt to convert them to Christianity. Despite international outcry and demands for his body to be retrieved, the Indian authorities refused to disturb the Sentinelese, arguing that any such attempt would be both dangerous and disrespectful. It's a precarious balance, isn't it? The Sentinelese are arguably the most isolated people in the world, with their wishes for isolation respected, but this isolation also makes them vulnerable. With increasing impacts of climate change and sea level rise, the future of North Sentinel Island and its inhabitants hangs in the balance. The question then arises, how do we protect those who do not want or perhaps do not understand the need for our protection? The case of North Sentinel Island raises some interesting and complex moral questions, doesn't it? The Sentinelese are a living, breathing testament to an ancient way of life, fascinating and mysterious in their seclusion. But as we've seen, this seclusion isn't without its perils. How do we approach these perils? Should we leave them alone, as they clearly wish, respecting their autonomy but leaving them vulnerable to natural disasters and climate change? Or do we intervene, risking their health and way of life in the process? There's no easy answer. In fact, these questions touch on wider debates about colonialism and its legacy. The history of the world is filled with instances where contact has resulted in devastation for indigenous peoples. The Sentinelese have so far avoided this fate, but at the cost of complete isolation. These questions also highlight the tension between scientific curiosity and ethical responsibility. As a society, we're naturally curious. We want to know more about the Sentinelese and their way of life. But is it right to satisfy our curiosity at the expense of their wishes? Is there a way to learn without disrupting? Finally, the case of North Sentinel Island forces us to confront the value we place on different ways of life. Our modern, technology-driven society tends to prioritize progress and development. But the Sentinelese are a stark reminder that there are other ways to live, and that these ways too have value. So, perhaps the most important moral question is, are we willing to accept, respect, and protect a way of life that is so different from our own? Now, the Sentinelese aren't the only uncontacted tribe in the world. According to Survival International, there are more than 100 uncontacted tribes across the globe, with the majority in Brazil and Peru. These tribes, much like the Sentinelese, choose to reject contact with the outside world, often due to a history of violent encounters or the devastating impact of diseases brought by outsiders. But being uncontacted in the 21st century comes with its own set of challenges. As we continue to consume resources and land, these tribes face threats to their survival: deforestation, illegal mining, and oil exploration, to name a few. The global community faces a dilemma. Do we respect their choice to remain isolated, potentially allowing their unique cultures to disappear? Or do we intervene, potentially disrupting their way of life? The story of North Sentinel Island and the Sentinelese people raises these questions. They're a stark reminder that, even in our interconnected world, pockets of isolation remain, defying our understanding of what it means to be a global citizen in the 21st century. And there you have it, a journey through time and across the waves to a corner of our planet where time, in a sense, has stood still. The Sentinelese and North Sentinel Island, a mirror to our past and a testament to human adaptability. It's a stark reminder that even in this era of technological advancements and global connectivity, there are parts of the world that remain untamed and untouched. So, while we wonder about life on other planets, it's worth remembering that there are still some mysteries to be solved right here on Earth. And as always, thanks for watching. Have you ever heard of a place where an advanced civilization lived in harmony with nature, created incredible technologies, and then vanished without a trace? If that rings a bell, you're probably thinking of Atlantis, a legendary city-state whose story has captivated the human imagination for centuries. Whether it was a real place or a figment of Plato's philosophical musings, Atlantis represents a mystery at the intersection of history, mythology, and prehistory. So let's dive into the deep and explore the fascinating narrative of Atlantis and its Atlanteans. The story of Atlantis takes us back over 2 millennia to the works of the great Greek philosopher Plato. In 2 of his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, we find the earliest known accounts of this enigmatic civilization. And boy, what a civilization it was! Plato describes Atlantis as a powerful and advanced kingdom that existed 9,000 years before his own time, which would place it around 11,000 years ago from today. But where was this supposed advanced civilization located? Plato provides a clue. He describes Atlantis as being situated beyond the Pillars of Hercules. Now, this is generally understood to mean the Strait of Gibraltar, the passage that separates Europe from Africa and connects the Mediterranean Sea to the Atlantic Ocean. According to Plato, Atlantis was an island nation, larger than Asia and Libya combined. An extraordinary claim, isn't it? The civilization of Atlantis, as described by Plato, was a utopian society, a veritable paradise on Earth. It was divided into concentric rings of water and land, with a palace in the center island. The Atlanteans had access to an abundance of natural resources, including metals, and had a rich variety of fauna and flora. The society was well organized, with a clear division of power. The royal city was a marvel of architecture and engineering, featuring grand temples, palaces, and a central canal connecting to the sea. The Atlanteans were a formidable military power, with a well-organized army and navy. They had achieved a high level of technological advancement, far surpassing other civilizations of their time. However, despite their advanced state, Plato's story tells us of their downfall. He describes that the Atlanteans, over time, became morally bankrupt, their divine nature diluted with human greed and lust for power. As a consequence, the gods decided to punish them, resulting in a cataclysmic event that caused the island to sink into the sea in a single day and night. The story of Atlantis, as captivating as it is relayed to us through a single source, Plato. And because no other records of Atlantis exist in other ancient texts or archaeological evidence, it's been a topic of much debate and speculation for centuries. But the lack of concrete evidence hasn't stopped us from delving deeper into the legend, piecing together theories and interpretations that try to make sense of Plato's account of this lost civilization. Now, let's dive a little deeper and venture into the realm of prehistory. Interestingly, some proponents of the Atlantis was real hypothesis believe that this lost civilization existed during an epoch that predates our current understanding of human history. They argue that Atlantis could have been an advanced prehistoric society, lost to us due to the massive cataclysm that sank the city. The concept of an advanced prehistoric civilization isn't new. Various ancient cultures have myths and legends about a time before recorded history, when humanity, or even other beings, achieved a level of knowledge and technology far beyond what we would expect for the period. These myths often speak of a great disaster that wiped out this civilization, leading to a loss of this knowledge and a subsequent reset of human progress. Atlantis fits neatly into these legends. The city was said to be incredibly advanced, with high culture, sophisticated technology, and profound knowledge. If it existed, it would certainly fit the archetype of a prehistoric advanced civilization. But what do we mean by advanced? The Atlanteans, according to Plato, had a highly organized society, advanced architecture and engineering, complex agricultural systems, and even powerful weaponry. While some of these descriptions may align with our modern sense of advanced, it's important to note that advanced in the context of a prehistoric civilization doesn't necessarily mean they had smartphones and space travel. Rather, it suggests a level of societal and technological sophistication that was exceptional for the time and that could have been lost or forgotten due to a cataclysmic event. This brings us to the cataclysm that supposedly ended Atlantis. Natural disasters like earthquakes, tsunamis, or volcanic eruptions could have been the culprit. A significant enough event could feasibly wipe out a civilization, particularly one located on an island or coastal region. This isn't just theoretical. We have archaeological evidence of cultures disappearing or significantly declining after major natural disasters. But could such an event also wipe out all evidence of an advanced prehistoric civilization? It's possible, especially if you consider factors like sea level rise and geological activity over thousands of years. However, it's also a significant point of contention among researchers, and a reason why the Atlantis was real hypothesis is met with skepticism in mainstream academia. Whether or not Atlantis was a real prehistoric civilization, the idea certainly makes us ponder. It challenges our perception of human history and progress, and pushes us to keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking the truth. So, Atlantis. An advanced civilization, lost to time and sea, or just a moral tale spun by one of history's greatest philosophers? This is the crux of our second segment. The debate over the existence of Atlantis has been ongoing for centuries, and the opinions are as varied as they are fascinating. One viewpoint is that Plato's account of Atlantis was indeed a work of fiction, an allegory intended to convey philosophical and moral teachings. The decadence and eventual downfall of the Atlanteans served as a cautionary tale about the dangers of hubris and the inevitable divine retribution for moral decline. This interpretation posits that Plato used the story of Atlantis as a teaching tool, a vehicle for his philosophical ideas. However, there's a contrasting viewpoint, one that treats Plato's account of Atlantis as a record of a real historical civilization. Supporters of this viewpoint argue that the level of detail in Plato's account, including the geographical descriptions, societal structure, and cultural practices of the Atlanteans, suggest a basis in reality. Some propose that Atlantis was an actual seafaring civilization that was destroyed by a natural disaster, perhaps a tsunami or volcanic eruption. Further fueling the fire of this debate are the numerous theories about the possible location of Atlantis. Over the years, researchers and explorers have proposed various sites around the world, including the Mediterranean, the Caribbean, and even as far as Antarctica. One of the most popular theories places Atlantis at the Greek island of Santorini, which was devastated by a massive volcanic eruption around 3,600 years ago. Critics of the Atlantis was real hypothesis point out that there's a lack of concrete archaeological evidence to support these claims. Despite extensive underwater explorations and excavations at various proposed sites, no definitive proof of Atlantis has been found. Yet the search continues, driven by a mix of scientific curiosity, romanticism, and the enduring allure of one of history's greatest mysteries. Whether we'll ever find Atlantis or whether it existed at all is uncertain. What is certain, though, is that the story of Atlantis captivates us, stirring our imagination and our desire to understand our past. And in a way, isn't that what all great stories do? The tale of Atlantis doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It's a thread woven into the tapestry of human history. Interestingly, there are narratives from a variety of ancient civilizations that echo the story of Atlantis in some form or another. These range from the ancient Greeks to the Mesoamerican cultures, and even the Indian subcontinent. But what does this mean? Does it provide evidence of Atlantis' existence, or is it something else entirely? To start, let's discuss the ancient Greeks. As we know, our primary source for the Atlantis story is from the philosopher Plato. However, he wasn't the only ancient Greek to write about lost civilizations. Many other Greek writers and philosophers penned tales of ancient, often idyllic societies that were lost to time. Could these have been inspired by the same source as Plato's Atlantis? In Mesoamerica, we have the story of Aztlan, the ancestral home of the Aztec people. According to their mythology, the Aztecs migrated from Aztlan, a paradise-like place, to the Valley of Mexico. While not an exact match, the story of a lost, idyllic homeland bears some similarity to the Atlantis narrative. On the Indian subcontinent, there's the ancient city of Dwarka, which, according to the Mahabharata, was a highly advanced city that sank into the sea after a great war. Archaeological investigations have indeed discovered ruins off the coast of modern Dwarka in Gujarat, India, leading some to claim a connection to Atlantis. So, what does this all mean? Are these tales proof of Atlantis' existence, or are they separate myths and legends that merely share common themes? It's hard to say definitively, but it's worth noting that stories of lost civilizations are a common motif in human culture. They serve as cautionary tales, moral lessons, and symbols of a lost golden age. But even if Atlantis itself is a myth, the idea of it has had a profound influence on human thought. It represents the concept of a lost golden age, a civilization that reached great heights only to fall into oblivion. It's a reminder of the impermanence of human achievements and the cyclical nature of history. But it's also a symbol of human ambition, the desire to build a society that is prosperous, enlightened, and harmonious. In this sense, Atlantis is more than just a lost city. It's a reflection of our collective dreams and fears, and isn't that interesting? The allure of the lost city of Atlantis has not faded with time. Instead, it has drawn in curious minds and adventurous souls from across the globe. Expeditions and theories abound, each with its own perspective on the possible location of this ancient civilization. Let's dive into the details. In the late 19th century, American congressman and amateur historian Ignatius Donnelly wrote a book arguing that Atlantis was a technologically sophisticated civilization that was the source of all known ancient cultures. He proposed that the city lay in the Atlantic Ocean, drawing upon the name and geographical clues in Plato's account. His ideas sparked a wave of public interest in Atlantis. In the 20th century, Greek archaeologist Spiridon Marinatos proposed that the Minoan civilization, which flourished on the island of Crete and other Aegean islands, was the basis for the Atlantis story. The Minoans were a seafaring culture with advanced art and architecture, and their civilization was devastated by the volcanic eruption on the island of Thera around 1600 BCE, which could have been the catastrophe that sank Atlantis. More recently, satellite imagery and advanced underwater equipment have enabled researchers to search for Atlantis in places previously inaccessible. Some believe that the vast marshlands of southern Spain were once the site of Atlantis, while others propose locations as far afield as the Caribbean or the coast of Antarctica. There's even a theory that Atlantis never existed on Earth at all, but is instead located on Mars. Proponents of this idea point to what they interpret as canal-like structures in satellite images of the Martian surface. It's a far-fetched idea, to say the least, but it illustrates the lengths to which our fascination with Atlantis can take us. While the search for Atlantis has often been criticized as pseudoscience, it continues to inspire rigorous archaeological research and deep-sea exploration, contributing to our knowledge of ancient civilizations and Earth's geological history. Whether or not we ever find Atlantis, the quest for it has led us to a better understanding of our own world. And as always, thanks for watching.